Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Stacey King alongside. If you're wondering where the red-faced Timmy Whispers is, he's getting redder than ever. He's in the Valley of the Sun. That's a bad marriage. Timmy Whispers in Phoenix.
Not a good combination, but he always seems to find the warm weather. Never brings any sunscreen.
I know. So when he comes back, you'll definitely see Larry the Lobster in full effect. Doing some business down in Phoenix. He's always doing business. What's going on?
Hey, you know what? Tim's a versatile guy, man. He's an entrepreneur. He's got his own business. He's doing really good teleray. He's in the medical fields, and so he does a lot of good work.
Yeah, so don't be fooled by that blank expression on his face.
He's a killer.
This guy's wheeling and dealing in the business world.
Yes.
People would not expect
and
that.
He's the man behind the scenes of my hot sauce.
That's right.
Yeah, he does all the financial stuff for the hot sauce and, co-creator. So, yeah, He does a lot of stuff.
His office is loaded with bottles of Stacey's signature hot sauce.
It's like Amazon up in this bitch.
I think he's got his own side deal going.
Yeah, he does.
He's trading out of the back room. Like you talk about selling mixtapes out of your trunk.
Out of
he's selling hot sauce.
He's out of his office. We got all kind of strange people coming in the office. Don't even know these people. They're like, give me two bottles.
He gets pulled over by the Palatine police. He opens up his trunk and they go, "Hey, would you like some hot sauce, officer? We make this go away?
I'll exchange some hot sauce for the ticket." Yeah. We got a lot of it in here, America.
Timmy Whispers, wheeling and dealing, America's entrepreneur. Hey, let's talk a little basketball before we get to the NBA playoffs. A couple of Bulls items that happened in the past week since our last podcast. Lonzo Ball officially picked up the $21 million option. AK was kind of guarded in talking about what they expect of him. He said, let's let it play out for a couple of months. And I guess really at this point, he had an unprecedented surgery. So you just have to wait to see as he puts more load on that knee if it's going to hold up.
Well, you knew Zoe was going to pick up that option.
Oh, he had to.
He had to. Any player is going to pick up $21 million.
Yeah.
Regardless if he comes back or not. The Bulls strongly believe he's going to come back. He's going to come back healthy. There's no pain. We saw him early when we were out in LA. We saw him. He hung around the team and stuff. So, knowing that we had talked to him, no pain in the knee, which he was feeling before the surgery. And that's what was really the concern because he'd had those multiple surgeries and then wasn't able to, relinquish the pain. And so they were baffled by that. Here we had surgery. We thought we found it. Thought it was a nerve. They went in now, and he's pain-free. He's shooting. He was jumping a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's going to be on load management when he comes back. He's not going to play 82 games. I do believe if he comes back next year, start the season, you might not even see him in preseason. You might not see him until the regular season starts. And I think he'll be on a minutes count for the rest of the year.
The other news item, Alex Caruso won the NBA's Hustle Award, and I posted on Twitter that they should name it after him. But have a trophy looks like Alex Caruso when he retires.
Yeah, listen, he's going to probably be first team all defense.
Mm-hmm.
Should be considered. I think if the Bulls had a better record, he'd probably be up there defensive player of the year. I know he doesn't, do what Rudy Gobert and some of these other guys do, but he makes the same kind of impact from the guard position that they do at the center position. So I think that has to be taken into consideration. And I think the league has to look at that, but I also do believe that you have to have a better record. The Bulls, if the Bulls were a top 5 team in the NBA, I think Caruso would be getting a lot more accolades.
We're still about a month and a half away from the NBA draft, and then free agency starts the week after it. And already the media is bombarded by these fake Zach LaVine trades. Everybody's got a fake trade out there. And, I think the reality of it is the Bulls are either going to take, 50 cents on a dollar, or they have to bring him back and let him show the rest of the league that he's healthy.
One thing about Zach, and I think people don't understand about Zach, Mark, he is a gym rat. When he came back from the ACL surgery, a lot of people were concerned, how will he be? Will he have the same explosive ability he had before the injury? Will he be as quick off the bounce? And I think he proved everybody right. He proved everybody wrong. His vertical was, I think he got 2 more inches on his vertical. He came back more explosive, faster. I think this is a situation now where, okay. Stop. We're not trading with the Lakers, okay? Stop. I don't know who keeps putting the Lakers. The Lakers want to trade everybody. They've offered Kareem, Magic, Michael Cooper, James Worthy. They have nobody on that team that the Bulls could use. I'm sorry. So let's scrap them. And if you're the Bulls, you're gonna send, if you're gonna trade Zach and you're committed to trading Zach LaVine, you're going to trade him to the best place that's going to give you assets back. A first rounder and some good young players back, because you got to match salary for salary.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lakers have nobody you want unless you're going to trade Anthony Davis,
Yeah, which isn't happening.
which that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the rest of those guys on that team, I mean, I don't even want Austin Reeves. There's no one on that roster I want, especially after watching the Lakers kind of fumble through the playoffs in the regular season. I mean, they won the in-season tournament. You thought they had won the world championship. They celebrated. They got a banner. It was like, they were all excited, popping champagne 40 games into the season, and then you flame out in the playoffs. So, no, I don't want anybody on there. And if I'm AK, Mark Eversley, which I'm not, I'm just a person sitting in a chair, and I'm talking head. If I'm going to trade Zach LaVine, I'm going to get something that's going to benefit this organization, because losing a player like that, and you see with Lowry, we lost Lowry. Those are the kind of moves that set you back years. Unless you're going to blow up the whole team and start from scratch, which the Bulls are not going to do, you got to get something in return, a first round pick and some quality young players that are in that 22 to 23-year-old range that can kind of team up with Kobe and Io and Patrick Williams and then go that route.
For those of you who are just listening to the show and are not watching on YouTube, Cisco put up a graphic of a rumored trade by, I think it was Bleacher Nation or something like that.
It's horrible.
That they had Zach going to the Lakers for a combination of D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent. That was the made-up trade. You're going to be seeing lots of made-up trades.
Lots of them.
Throughout the summer. So we'll see how that shakes out. Casey Johnson right now, our good buddy, is doing a series for NBCSportsChicago.com where he's basically giving a synopsis of each player, how they did this year, what their outlook is for the future. He had an interesting item on Patrick Williams today where he said that just before the season, they were negotiating an extension of his rookie deal. And he said, according to sources he had, that the best offer, or the last offer the Bulls made, was for 4 years, $64 million, which is an average of $16 million a season. And he mentioned the fact that there was a contract that was over $20 million. I'm drawing a blank on the player. I'll look it up. Who is a comp to Patrick Williams, who got like $90 million for 4 years. And the thing is with Patrick, 2 of his seasons ended in surgeries. You think that his price tag is going to go down, or do you think his agent is going to say, well, this is the money he should get based on his potential for the future?
Well, you can't pay on potential if you're the Bulls, because we've already waited for 4 years for him to get to his potential. So you're going to be paying for another 4 years for now to be a total of 8. By the time he reaches potential, he'd be almost out of the league. So if you're the Bulls, you say, hey, he's a restricted free agent. So you say, hey, here's what the deal. We offered you that extension earlier, and for whatever reason, it didn't get done. The 4 for 64, which is $16 million a season.
That's a lot of money.
Which is a lot of money for for a young player who's shown you flashes that he could be something special, but then there's other times he disappears. He doesn't have that aggressive nature. And so you're paying a player like that. If I'm the Bulls, I'm like, hey, let's go see what you get on the open market. Right. And let the market set the tempo of where he's going to get.
Yeah, I just looked it up. The comp they were making was to DeAndre Hunter of the Atlanta Hawks. He got 4 years, $90 million.
But here's the difference between the two players. DeAndre Hunter is available. Number one, he's playing.
Right.
He's a starter. He's a very good player, and he's a lockdown defender. Mm-hmm. He's a 3-and-D guy, and he's had to adjust his game playing with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. But he's probably the third option on that team, and he can shoot the basketball. He's shown more than Patrick has shown. Okay. He's been a starter longer than Patrick Williams, and he's shown more than Patrick. So I can understand them making that move and giving him that. I don't know if the Bulls think Patrick's worth that money. I don't know. I mean, they were going to give him $16 million a season. So, and that's way below $90 million.
Right.
64 and 90. So you do the math. it ain't nowhere close. Okay. So, but if you're the Bulls, it's the same way when you had the Turkish hammer. Omer Asik. Yeah. And the Bulls kind of bid it against themselves a little bit. And then another team came in, and then they offered him they gave him that poison pill.
Houston Rockets.
Maury gave him the poison pill that didn't allow the Bulls to match it. Now, can someone come up with something clever like that and do that for the Bulls? Hey, listen, if somebody's going to pay Patrick Williams $19-20 million a year, you basically, the Bulls, all right, hey, good luck to you. Because, we seen flashes of this kid could be good. but it hasn't been consistent. And you can't pay a guy now going in year 5 on potential. You just can't. We've already potential that first 3 years. Let's see in the first 3 years what he can potentially be. You don't want to be going into a second contract looking for potential because now you're starting to get into the prime years of a player.
Right.
And if he hasn't shown you what he can do in 8 years, and I love Patrick. I'm a big advocate of Patrick Williams, but if I'm the Bulls, I think you have to let him, if he's a restricted free agent, which he is, you have to let him go out there and dictate the market. If someone comes out and says, we're going to give you, somebody offers him $12 million a season. Oh, so you're the Bulls? Come on, we're signing that.
Yeah.
Or Patrick doesn't. He can bet on himself. He can just sign a 1-year deal and do a Jimmy Butler and bet on himself.
Yeah, speaking of Jimmy Butler, how about Pat Riley lighting him up?
Congratulations,
saying, if
Pat.
you're not playing, if you're not on the
shut
court,
your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your damn mouth, okay? Because if you know Pat Riley behind the scenes, it wasn't shut your damn mouth. It was shut your fucking mouth. That's what it was, America. And I'm glad that he said something because, here's these guys, now granted, Jimmy had an MCL sprain. There's nothing you can do about that, okay? It's not like it was a muscular injury. That was something he couldn't guard. Somebody ran into his knee. That was a freak accident. If he was playing, could they have beaten, the Miami Heat? I mean, could they beat New York or the Knicks? No, they couldn't. They're not going to beat that.
And they weren't going to beat Boston.
They're not going to beat Boston. So those two teams he was talking trash about was not going to happen, okay? They don't match up with them. They don't have the bench depth that they had the year before. They're not the same team. And plus, Jimmy misses too many games a year. Jimmy's missing 22 plus games a season. And then he's expected to come in. He's kind of like bought into this lore, like playoff Jimmy. So he can sit and miss 25 games and go, yeah, but I'm gonna be ready for the playoffs and turn it on. I can turn it on as playoff Jimmy. No. And plus he's 34, 35 years old.
And he wants an extension this summer off the 2 years he got left on his deal.
And one thing about Pat Riley is very similar to Jerry West. He knows when to buy and when to sell. And he's there. The one advantage teams have with their players is they see him every day. See, the other teams don't see him. You're outside looking in, he's like, Jimmy's a competitor. Jimmy's this, Jimmy that. But behind closed doors, teams see what Jimmy is, and they see that, he's always in the training room. He's always hurt. Boom, 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 boom. And don't be surprised if Miami doesn't move from him. Because now I hear, Donovan Mitchell wants to come to Miami. I would not be surprised if Pat Riley says, you know what? We're going to move on from this.
And Philly has a ton of cap space, and Embiid and Jimmy were tight for that little half a season that they played.
You know what? And it's just like, it's a typical Philadelphia team. You had a chance to pay the guy when he was there, and he was really.
They paid Tobias Harris.
You paid Tobias Harris instead, and then what have you got out of that? And there's nothing wrong with Tobias Harris.
Right.
Tobias Harris is a good player, but he's not a top 1 or 2 players.
Not a max player. You got a max contract.
Yeah, and you got a max contract because you didn't want to pay Jimmy.
Yeah.
Because of the situation with Brett Brown there, and then the Ben Simmons, because basically Jimmy was basically saying Ben Simmons is soft. Well, lo and behold, America, Jimmy might have been right because this guy has shown up to more social events than basketball games. Yeah. He's at the Met Gala the other night. Was it last night?
Clock?
Yeah, he's holding a Flavor Flav clock. First of all, he's dressed like he's in a kilt, and he shows up to the Met Gala, but he can't show up to play for his team. Right. And I think the guy's played maybe 20 games in 3 years, and it's like he's got the same injury every season. And it's almost like, because back injuries are hard to detect. Okay, you can say you have some kind of like muscular injury. They can do an MRI and say, okay, he's got a torn quad or something. Back injuries are hard to really gauge. So a guy can say, oh, my back hurts, and we got to believe him because it could be nerve damage, it could be something in the lumbar region, something in the spinal cord. It's really hard to tell. He's gotten away with that for 3 years now. And I think he's more in love with the social life of the NBA and the glitz and the glamour and the girls and the cars than he is for the NBA work ethic.
Yeah, and he was making those comments.
Look at him. There he is right there.
For those of you on YouTube, there he is. There's his outfit.
Yeah, he looked like something out of Harry Potter. I'm waiting for that clock to turn into an animal or something. I think it turns into like a parrot or something. But listen, it's got to be frustrating for his teammates because these guys go to war every day. They're battling every single day. They're practicing every single day. They come in there playing hurt. Listen, nobody in the NBA is 100% healthy. As soon as the season starts, that's where your injuries. It's like when you dog years, you just start multiplying. You first day of practice, you're at 100%. As soon as that first day of practice is over, you're at 96. And it goes down, it
It
goes
ain't
down,
going up.
it ain't going up. So no one is healthy. Everybody in the playoffs right now are banged up. They're
Yeah.
nicked up. But at the same time, this kid is just been sitting on benches. He hasn't played. He's been a disruption, in Philadelphia. He forced his way out of Philly, and it hasn't worked anywhere. So who wants to take a chance on a guy like he's almost like he's waiting for his next contract. Like, I'm just gonna sit out until it's time for that last contract, then I'm gonna go out there and put up an all-star caliber season, and then someone's gonna give me 200 million.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like he's doing.
It's going to be an interesting summer around the NBA because so many
Cruel, cruel
veteran teams
summer.
got knocked out. I mean, you look in the East,
Ooh.
Milwaukee's out, Philadelphia's out, Miami's out, both LA teams, the high priced Phoenix Suns are out. All these teams are going to be
Ooh.
looking to make changes. So
Listen,
if the Bulls want to retool, there might be some interesting options available for them.
listen, and the Bulls have a lot of cap space, depending on what they do with DeMar. They have a lot of cap space. And listen, I'm a big fan of DeMar DeRozan. I love DeMar's game. I think what he's done for this team and what he's done for the younger kids in this organization. Guy played 92% of the games. Okay. That alone right there, because I know he's going to be 35, but his career, he's played close to 90% of games. So he's very durable. I think that's one of the things in his favor. I'd love to see him stay, but you can't have him as Zach. And so what I
No, you
would
got to break that
so
up.
so what I would do, this is just me. I'm putting on a GM hat. I'm keeping DeMar DeRozan and I'm moving him to his natural position, which is two guard. Okay. I'm moving to the two guard. If Zoe comes back, that's your point guard. Your two guard is going to be DeMar. Now he's in his natural position, not small forward. He can play small forward sometimes, but not all the time. Moving back to his natural position where he's a two guard. You move Patrick Williams now to small forward, which is his natural position, and you go find you a power forward. Go get you a forward, someone like a Jonathan Isaac, someone more like an Aaron Gordon type player that will come in, rebound, block shots, can switch on defense, long arms, athletic. Wherever that is, go out and find that guy, play him at your fourth spot. Try to find a way to bring Drummond back. I know it's going to be hard. There's going to be a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that trade deadline that wanted him. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get him back, and then I don't know if he'll give him a team friendly deal. But I would love to see Drummond back, and I'd love to see Drummond play minutes. Really give consistent minutes to show Vooch that if you don't come and play every single night and lay it on the floor, there's somebody behind you who's going to eat your minutes. He's proven that he can come in and play starters minutes. Every time he's played extended minutes, Mark, he's dominated. So that if you're going to keep Vooch, that's what you got to have. You got to have someone behind Vooch that's going to push Vooch to play hard every single night. And Vooch is a very talented guy, and but he needs to be pushed, and players need to be held accountable next season. No more of this. Missing assignments defensively, not hustling, not coming out mentally ready to play. That last playing game against Miami was set for that team to get to the playoffs. It was set up. Jimmy's out, Rozier's out, the top two players are out. That was set up for the Bulls to win. You get down 34-17 in the first quarter in a playing game. That
Right.
can't happen. That
Right.
was embarrassing. It can't happen. It was the first and third quarters, which have been problems for the Bulls most of the season. Getting off to a good start to start the game and getting off to a good start coming out after halftime. That killed them.
Problem is, though, if Zoe comes back and you move DeRozan to shooting guard, what are you doing with Kobe and Io?
Well, listen,
Bringing those guys
you got
off
to come off the
bench?
bench.
Oh,
You got to
come
come off
on
the
now.
bench. You got to come off the bench.
Kobe's a starter now.
You got to come off the bench. If you're going to keep DeMar DeRozan, you're going to pay him that kind of money. I'm not playing DeMar at small forward. I'm just not. He's not a small forward. I mean, he's able to play that because you had Zach there, but his natural position is a two guard, and matchup wise defensively, I think it's better for him. Kobe's still gonna play starters minutes. You don't have see. This is what people listen. I played with a guy, Mark, in college that he made this big deal about starting. I gotta start. Well, let me tell you something, America. This big dude went out there and got the jump ball and he sat on the bench. He started the game to get the jump ball, and then he went to the bench and didn't play no more. But he was so happy to start. But if I'm gonna play 35, 38 minutes a night off the bench, and I'm still gonna be able to do what I want to do, then so be it. Let's do it. I love Kobe. I think Kobe is a starter. But I think if you bring DeMar back and you move everybody because everybody's out of position. Their whole team, first of all, we're a team full of guards. That's number one. That's the
we
big
haven't
problem.
even mentioned Alex Caruso.
That's the biggest problem right now because all your main players are guards. So this team is going to have to get bigger. They're going to have to put people in their natural positions. You're not going to be able to play Alex Caruso at power forward anymore. You're not. Because you look at the playoffs right now, prime example. of all the teams left in the playoffs right now in the second round, how many of them are playing a 6'4" power forward?
No, a lot of size is back in
Yeah,
there.
exactly. And what did I tell you? I told you this. The size is back based off of what Denver has done. I know Denver's down right now, but you look at Minnesota, they got size.
Mhm.
Oklahoma City has size. These teams that are left in the playoffs, Boston has size. So they're not playing small ball anymore. These teams now are playing traditional basketball, my bigs against your bigs, and let's see who's the best.
Mhm. What's going on with Denver? I mean, they look like dead men walking. That game 2 was a flat out embarrassment.
I think they got that Laker funk. I think they put everything they can to beat the Lakers, and I think that they thought they were just going to walk through Minnesota, even though they've lost to Minnesota this year. I don't think they took Minnesota seriously, especially having home court advantage. Having home court advantage. I think they just thought, well, now we're gonna beat them. It's playoffs. We're the champions. Now we're gonna turn it on. And what they realized was before they even got a punch in, Minnesota already hit them 10 times.
I know.
It was like Sugar Ray. And before they knew it, they were down. They were losing the game. And they were like, oh my God. The second game was a whitewash. I mean,
And
they
Rudy
blew 'em
Gobert
out.
wasn't even there.
That's what I'm saying. That's it. But I said this from day one about this Minnesota team going all the way back to what episode was that, gentlemen? 148. What are we on now? We're on 178. So you see the numbers of how many episodes? Huh? 30 episodes, America. So I called this. I said that Minnesota is going to be a team to watch in the playoffs based off of Anthony Edwards taking over and being a star, which he's done. Karl Anthony Towns accepting his role and passing it to Anthony, let him do his thing. And then their size. If you get Rudy Gobert, Nas Reed, Towns to play big, they have the players to really cause a lot of problems to Denver. That was the only team really that I felt, other than the Lakers, if the Lakers would have been in the other side, the other bracket, they could have gotten to the Western Conference Finals. It would have been tough beating Oklahoma City, but I could see them doing it. But Minnesota was a team I thought had the size to go against, the Joker. Because you could rotate 3 dudes out there on him. Gobert still defensive player of the year, was 4-time winning defensive player of the year.
Yep.
A lot of people think Anthony Davis should have won. His numbers were better. Wemby should have been up there too, but
He'll be winning a bunch of them.
yeah,
real
he'll
soon.
win a bunch of them. But they've got the players to disrupt Jokic. So you're seeing it now in the first 2 games.
Well, we got the receipts, don't we?
Pay the receipts, baby.
Why don't we play Stacey's comments? He was prescient, forecasting the glory of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anytime now.
And see, and Adam even talked about Dallas, which is there now. Oh, America.
We love Adam Amin, but I think that's the wrong clip.
America, I didn't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. I called it. So, and in that clip, Adam also talked about the Dallas Mavericks being a team with, being able to trade for Gafford. They got the young kid Lively, Derrick Jones Jr. They added a lot of pieces to that Maverick team. And then you got Kyrie Irving playing unbelievable basketball. Luka's struggling right now. Luka has not played like the Luka that we're all used to seeing, the future face of the NBA. He struggled right now with his offensive game, but Kyrie's been, carrying him. They lost to Oklahoma City, a tough game to Oklahoma City. I think they're going to lose that series. Oklahoma City right now, they're a fun team to watch. They're playing. That young team is playing with so much confidence. They love playing with one another. It's a really close knit group. They all hang out. There's a
We all get together afterwards and bark. And
there's a great continuity with them. They all love playing with one another. And so I look at it as being Minnesota versus Oklahoma City for the trip to the Western Conference, to win the Western Conference Finals. And I see Minnesota getting to the finals and winning it all.
We talked about Anthony Edwards last week at 22. You mentioned Luka being the face of the league. I think Anthony Edwards is going to fight for that.
No, it's over. He's a face.
Luka?
No, Anthony.
Yeah.
He's a face. Because the reason why I say this, Mark, is he's got the personality. He's got the swagger to him that kids will gravitate to. He plays above the rim. He can shoot the basketball, knock down threes. Did you see the Jordan shrug?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. And none of the commentators even picked that up. They didn't pick it up. They didn't pick he did the Jordan shrug until Like none of when the broadcaster was actually doing the game didn't pick it up. I was like, how did they not pick that up? So you
Yeah.
got to pick these things up, man. This is why we're on a different level, Mark. This is why down here in Chicago we're on a different level. We pick things like that up. So America, this kid got the smile. He's got the killer instinct. He's got that Jordan flair to him. And I'm not saying he's MJ, but if there's anybody that you want to compare in this era right now, he's one guy that plays a little bit like MJ. He got that killer smile, and he talks trash. He tells people. He told Murray, "Hey, we're gonna have some fun tonight. You're gonna have a hard time guarding me." And he doesn't believe anybody in the league can guard him 1-on-1. Because
Yeah.
he said when he plays certain guys, he wants the challenge to go against a Kevin Durant, against a Booker, and those guys. He said, but those guys won't guard me. I'll guard them, but they won't guard me. And that's the same thing like MJ always had to. Guys didn't want to, deal with him. They didn't want to switch off, but when they did guard him, he can give you 50. This kid has that same potential at 22 years old. That's the crazy thing about this kid. He gets it. You ever listen to his interviews?
Oh yeah.
He interviews like he's been in the league 10 years. He credits his teammates. He gave McDaniels a shout out the other day to start off the press conference after winning a big game 2. The first thing he said was the reporter wanted to know about his game. The first thing he said was how great game McDaniel played. If it wasn't for him, he's been playing like this all year long. He gets us off to a good start defensively. He always guards the toughest wing, and that brings your team together. Here's a Jordan. What's it? Jordan McDaniel? What's his name?
Jaden.
Jaden. So he's in the locker room. He probably hardly ever gets talked to, but he hears his name on a national broadcast. His boy looked out for him. So now he gonna run through a wall for Anthony.
Yeah.
All these guys are gonna run through a wall for him. So that's a leader right there.
Yeah, 22 years old. He's already the recognized leader of that team. And speaking of bad sportsmanship on the other side, with Jamal Murray throwing a towel and then throwing a heat wrap onto the court, got fined $100,000 by the league. A lot of people thought he should have been suspended for Game 3.
Yeah, when he threw that heat pack out there, he should have got suspended because Karl Anthony Towns had just went right over it.
Yeah.
And he could have slipped and tore ACL up, and then if that would have happened, you would have opened up a can of worms because now if you're Karl Anthony Towns representation, you suing the league. I'm suing Denver. I'm suing Jamal Murray. I'm suing the league because now my career might be in jeopardy now.
Yeah, it was really dangerous. A live play going on. He throws it right underneath the basket where 7-foot athletes are jumping up trying to.
But here's the deal, though, Mark, and this is what I've been watching the playoffs very closely, and these guys should have known this was going to happen. The game is called differently in the playoffs than it is during the regular season. It's been like that since the turn of time, even in the 90s. The game is—they're allowing you to be more physical in the playoffs. Now, I wish they would turn it up a little bit during the regular season and call it a little bit more physical. Let them play a little bit because now what you're seeing, these guys are so perplexed, so shocked that the calls they were getting in the regular season, they're not even getting whistles now. They're like, wait a minute. For 82 games, I was getting this call when I go to layup and I yell and I get a call. Now they go in there and they're yelling and the refs keep playing. I've seen Anthony Edwards drive to the basket, get clobbered, and they keep playing. And some of these guys have made the adjustment, and some of these guys haven't. And the guys who haven't made the adjustment, the Jamal Murrays, who has not made the adjustment, get frustrated, mad at the officials, throw things. Mike Malone, not liking what the official gets technical. She should have got a technical and thrown out the game.
Yeah.
He ran out on the floor and they
guy
gave
Mark
up,
Davis showed a lot of restraint.
Yeah, and Mark Davis is known to give a quick tech. He like Wyatt Earp. He gonna shoot you with a tech. And he let him get on the court and get in his face.
Yeah.
And had to be physically restrained and was still talking and no technical foul was called. Yeah. But then Anthony Edwards does a dunk and says something, just stares at somebody, gets a tech.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Come on, bro. I know. Come on. You got to call it both ways when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I like the way they're allowing them to play. Some guys have made the adjustments and other guys haven't.
Friend of the program, Jalen Brunson is going crazy in the playoffs. Ooh. 4 straight games of 40 points or more, tying MJ for the second best behind Jerry West, who did it 6 times in a row. And, the way he plays at his pace. He gets to the spots that he wants to be on the floor, and you cannot stop him.
Look at those numbers. If you want to single-handedly say what's been the difference to the Knicks from, the last 2 years, it's been the Villanova kids.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo, you got Josh Hart and you got Jalen Brunson. Those kids are winners. They won championships, multiple championships in college. Villanova, they're hard-nosed kids. They play for a great college coach in Jay Wright. They understand offense and defense, and they compete. And everyone follows them. They're the leaders. And we were talking before we came on the show. The difference in some teams, Mark, is that if your leader is not your hardest worker, then you have no leadership. Your number one player has to be the hardest worker. That's how MJ was. You go back and look at those Jordan rules, or not Jordan rules, but the Last Dance, where he's running and winning the sprints and he's talking trash to everybody. That's your leader right there. So you're gonna follow him. You're gonna bust your butt. You're gonna do whatever it takes to be successful. And you have to work hard. So when your number 1, 2 guys are your hardest worker, everybody falls in line. But if your number 1 and number 2 guys, which you see on a lot of bad teams, don't show up for practice. They sit out. They're drinking Starbucks coffee when they should be working out. You got Ben Simmons. Here's Ben Simmons looked at as an all-star caliber player. And, the guy is never in practice, never shows up to support his team, but he's at Met Gala. Okay. That doesn't sit well with teams. That's a team that lacks leadership. And a lot of the bad teams lack leadership. People always say, who's the leader on your team? It's sometimes, everybody wants to point at the player. Oh, it's the player, when I always use the Bulls and they say, who's your leader on your team in those championship years? Everybody all automatically assumes Michael Jordan's the leader. No, Phil Jackson's your leader. Your coach is your leader. He's the general. He's the one that tells the troops what to be doing. Okay. Now, Michael is the second in command as far as behind Phil. So Michael is doing what Phil asked him to do. So if Phil yells at Michael and gets on Michael for missing an assignment, then how can a young player like myself get upset when he yells at me for missing an assignment?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If your star player takes accountability and can take that coaching and hard coaching from a coach, the younger players are going to fall in suit. But if your older players, your star players are not held accountable, the younger players are looking at you like, why you hold me accountable? You don't hold him accountable. So now you got disruption everywhere. Everyone has to be held accountable if you want to win in this game.
Last thing before we take a break, the MVP was announced today. Nikola
MVP.
Jokic winning it for the third time. Really could have been four times. He's unquestionably the guy that makes that engine go, and he led them to a championship last year. But, there's a long break. They played Monday night. They got beat twice in Denver. They don't play again until Friday night in Minneapolis. I can't even imagine the Joker having to go to this news conference because he hates having to do media anyway, accepting this award with his team down 0-2 in the series and looking like garbage, to be honest.
Well, he may send one of his horses to do the interview. I think you'll get more of a talking from the horse than you will from the Joker. But let me just say this: he deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
He was the best player, all year long. Luka could have made a case for it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander
he
could be there.
Seconds.
Yeah. So
those
those two guys, they could have. But he's been consistent for like the last 4 or 5 years. And again, he could have had the one Embiid had. It's just unfortunate right now because they're going to be judging him off of these games. So if they get swept, if they lose game 3, they're going to get swept. Okay, Minnesota is not. They don't have Patrick Beverly taking off the jersey, swinging the jersey when they won the play-in game. They don't have that guy, but they got real players out there now. So if they win game 3, Minnesota wins game 3, it's a wrap. I just do not see him coming back and trying to come back from that.
Were you as nervous as I was watching their coach, Chris Finch, being that close to the action? Because he can't move.
Hey, listen.
If somebody comes at him,
hey,
he's just a dead duck there.
Listen, that's why you pay your assistant to take the bullet for you. Dive in front of me and you take that fall. You know what I'm saying?
But he's really close.
But you got to be paying attention over there, though. The game is so fast, Mark. It can anything can happen in a split
second.
Guy
goes for a loose ball.
Yes,
he's going in that second row.
When you're standing up as a coach, and you're out that coach's box. So there's no coach's box anymore.
No.
There used to be a box where they put the coaches in. Now the coaches can walk all the way to the other side to the other team's bench and talk if they want to. So you're in the game. You're in the field of play. So a guy chasing a loose ball, trying to grab a ball, knocking the ball, knock you into your knees, and he's not a spring chicken.
No.
He's not agile. He might need to start taking Pilates or some yoga and learn how to move, be quicker. Because
he's not getting up off that chair, that's for sure.
No, he's not. And his assistant's been doing a really good job. They just look like their defense is unbelievable. See, I've always said this, America. If you get linked and you get guys committed to play defense, your star player, Anthony Edwards, committed to play defense. McDaniel, defensive player. Rudy Gobert, defensive player. That's 3 of your stars. And Mike Conley is putting shackles on the Nuggets. And Conley is a solid defensive player. Mm-hmm. So your 4 starters out on the floor are basically two-way players. Towns is going to rebound for you. So you defense, he's okay. So you got your 5 starters can play defense. and they're not switching a lot. They're playing straight up man to man, getting over screens. They're not leaving shooters open. You see Murray, they're pressing Murray, trapping him,
Yeah.
turning the ball over. Joker, I think Joker's averaging about 6 turnovers a game in the first
Then
2
you
games.
bring in Naz Reid and Kyle Anderson with length off the bench.
6th man of the year.
Yeah.
6th man of the year, defensive player of the year. Naz Reid was carrying him when
Game
Towns
one,
was
he had
out.
big shots.
Most of the second half of the season, Naz Reid carried him. That's why he got the 6th man of the year, because when Towns was out, they didn't miss a beat.
No.
They did not miss a beat. So you got 3 legitimate bigs that you can run at Jokic all day long. Jokic doesn't have a person behind him.
Well, you made the joke about I need a clone of myself. They said, how can you battle at size up front? And actually, it was a kind of a funny joke, but
he was serious.
He's serious.
Yeah,
I need
dead
somebody
serious.
as big as me and as good as me.
Basically, he was like, get some damn help, because
Yeah.
you got DeAndre Jordan over there who's on ice. It's
Right.
like they have Kevin Love. You got to try to unthaw him. By the time you unthaw him, the game's over. Okay, so they got to go out and get somebody that can come in and give them some minutes, allow him to rest a little bit, because he does so much for that team. He's got to be the point center. He's got to pass the ball. He's got to rebound the ball. He's got to score the basketball, and he doesn't get a lot of rest because they don't have a sub behind him that can give him some minutes to be able to catch his breath. Like Minnesota. Minnesota can, like, if Gobert is not playing well, hey, Naz Reid come in. Now you go on, Towns and Naz Reid. If you want to go small, you could play a small, you could play McDaniel, move him, or Kyle Anderson to 4, and then bring in Naz Reid. Now you got a small, quick lineup. Minnesota's got it. And if I'm an NBA team right now, that's who I'm looking to build my team like. Of course, it's going to be hard to find an Anthony Edwards, okay? But as far as the length and the way they play defense and the way they get after teams with their length and their size, the one team that reminds me of them so far is Orlando. Orlando has that length defensively. They just don't know how to win yet, because they had Cleveland on the ropes. They should have beat Cleveland. They had Cleveland on the ropes, and then they end up, just because they're young, inexperienced, they made some serious mistakes that cost them.
And they need a shooting guard. That's why a lot of people are making up trades of Zach LaVine to Orlando. So we'll be watching that one as the summer goes on. We talked about Ben Simmons being at the Met Gala. Another famous athlete who was at the Met Gala was Angel Reese. So make sure that Cisco has that picture
Reese's
for you.
Pieces.
When we come back.
She's dropping dimes, baby. Reese's Pieces. I'm coining that.
First of all, we want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, our buddy Jeff Vukovich, when it comes to being treated with royalty. Guy will take care of your auto, home, and business needs. Make sure you contact Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. You can reach him at 847-825-4783. Online at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. And the best jingle in the business, courtesy of Stacey King.
Nationwide is on your side.
We are really rolling here. We're going to have that Angel Reese photo for you on the other
Reese's
side.
Pieces. She's dropping dimes, baby. Reese's is dropping pieces. Oh, I got that name. That's my new nickname, Reese's Pieces. Yeah.
Welcome back. Segment 2 of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. And the WNBA is taking off. If you missed the news earlier this week, all teams will now have charter flights during the regular season. We talked about it for the show, Stacey. It's about time. The league is starting to make some real money. They're looking forward to their next TV deal, which should be astronomical compared to what they have been getting in the past. Everybody wants the WNBA now because of these college stars that made their name in these recent NCAA tournaments.
Well, like I said, you got this last group of girls, this last season in college basketball, Caitlin Clark has just took the world by storm. And they're coming in on a serious wave right now. Women's basketball is coming in on a serious wave right now. You got some very good young stars. You got some very good stars in the WNBA as it is. I mean, it's a great brand of basketball to watch. If you really want to see good fundamentals, you want to take your children to see really good basketball and see how the game is played without all the carrying and all the other stuff that goes on in the NBA, go check out the WNBA. They've got an opportunity again to ride this wave and really build up their numbers as far as the TV revenue is concerned. The sponsorship coming, they're bringing in, and you got to remember there's still a bunch of stars coming in after it. Paige Bucher's coming in after her. There's going to be Juju Watkins. I mean, there's some future stars here. And if you're the WNBA right now, you want to capitalize on that. You want to capitalize on the fame that these new girls are coming in and these super teams. Look at Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a super team. They got they got 4 or 5 girls that are studs, and they're able to keep that team. You got Becky Hammonds, who's one of the best coaches, men or women, and, they don't even get enough attention. They should be really, really talking about this team, how great they are, and how unselfish they play, but you hardly ever hear anything about that. So you gotta start capitalizing your WNBA, capitalizing on the good that you have in WNBA and start promoting in the shit out of it and getting people more involved.
First preseason game for Caitlin Clark. She scored 21 points, made five
Ooh.
threes, and showed that her talents will fit in very nicely in
Ooh.
this league.
Hey, the biggest thing they said was the speed of the game and the athleticism of the girls that are in the WNBA. Man, she turned one girl one time around, did a 360. The girl was trying to guard her, and she's in and out her crossover between the legs, and literally turned a veteran defensive player who's like been on the all WNBA defensive team like a top. And the range is unlimited. This is where she's going to kill people, seriously, because her range is unlimited. She can come past half court and shoot by the logo, and it's going in. So it's hard to defend someone like that because when you push up on them and trying to say, okay, let's take away that shot, her handles are good enough to get to anywhere on the floor. I hear people say, make her go left because, they've been scouting her supposedly in college. Like when she goes left, she'll do one dribble, maybe two, and pull up. And then she goes to her right hand, she'll go all the way to the rim. But I saw her do her left the other day. She didn't do one drill, two drill pickup. She went to the rim.
Yeah, and she's got that step back down that
Oof.
so many stars have at the men's and women's level. You get that quick dribble left, one step back, and then
This is a
unload
great.
it.
This is going to be a very exciting rookie class. I mean, I watched Angel Reese last night in the preseason. They dominated New York.
Yeah, they won by almost 50, and New
Yeah,
York has got a good squad.
yeah, they went to the finals
Yeah.
last year. So I was like really surprised. I don't know, I didn't. I said, well, maybe they're not playing everybody a lot of minutes.
They played their best
They played
players.
their best players, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow. But Angel Reese looked really, really good. Quick, was much quicker than all the girls that were guarding her because she's going to give up size a lot. And then but they have the big girl from South Carolina.
Well, she's hurt now.
She's hurt now,
Yeah.
but she'll be back. And so she'll be able to give her some size and they'll be able to move Angel Reese to the four, so
Mhm.
maybe some three. But she has quick moves. She's a lot stronger than what people give her credit for. She made a lot of stuff around the basket. I was impressed with her game as well.
And speaking of looking good, for those are watching on YouTube, if you missed it on social media, and I know how you could because it was all over the place, Angel Reese practiced on Monday, then flew to New York and was at the
Ooh,
Met Gala, and that is an
oh
outfit.
Lord. Oh Lord.
She calls herself Chi-Town Barbie
Hey,
now. What used to
listen.
be the Bayou Barbie?
Oh, listen. Hey, listen. This girl can be a fashion model if she wants to.
Mhm.
She's tall, she's pretty. She's not just a hooper. But a lot of these girls, I'm telling you, a lot of these girls are coming in. They got a huge following, social media following. They're influencers. She's a fashion influencer.
And she knows how to get in good with Chicago fans. She mentioned the fact that she likes Harold's Chicken. She likes the pizza in Chicago. She's already looking at those possible endorsement deals, and she's already got a lot of endorsement deals. She said that she's going to treat her teammates who don't have the same benefits. She's getting them. I think they saw she's getting them Beats headphones, taking them out to dinner. Even though she's the rookie, she's the one who right now is getting all the benefit of the endorsement deals. She's going to make sure her teammates
Well,
share
yeah,
the
they
wealth.
they should. I mean, she's probably making millions off that stuff.
Mhm.
So, that really, will bond your team closer. I know I saw the Paige Bucher do that for UConn when the NIL deals came
Mhm.
open. She bought all her team, new shoes, new headphones, and those kind of things you do for your teammates. Those are selfless acts, and that those teammates will love you. They'll run through a wall for you. They'll protect you. Something happens on the court, somebody get ready to get a two-piece, you ain't gotta do nothing. They'll take care of that. Oh, she got me some beat headphones. I'm gonna put these hands on you.
The NBA is going to be expanding into new cities in coming years and probably looking for bigger arenas to play in. Not all the teams are playing in the NBA arenas. The Sky play at Wintrust, which is a nice facility, holds about 7,000 or so. But a lot of teams are looking to move into the NBA arenas in the Sky now with Teresa Weatherspoon, who was an all-time great and WNBA champion. They got a good coach too on top
And
of everything.
she knows the game. She's a fiery. She was a great player, college and pro. And she plays, she coaches with a lot of passion and heart. And I think that, you're an extension of your coach. If you notice that, coaches sometimes, who are docile a little bit, sometimes your players take that identity sometimes and then they don't come out and play with the energy that they need to start a game. Whereas you look at like, the guys like Thibodeau, who's constantly barking, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." The players are an extension of him. That
Yeah.
New York team is Thibodeau all over it. His
Right.
handprints are all over that team. And there's a reason why they're in the second round and have a chance to be, hopefully playing in the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston.
So if you haven't been to a WNBA game, head out to Wintrust Arena, check out the Chicago Sky, a very improving team. The league is really stepping up. You'll really enjoy it. And courtside yesterday were three members of the Chicago Bears: Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, and Keenan Allen were all
Bear claw right there.
there.
It's Bear Claw. He stole that from the Baylor Bears. Come on, Caleb. Come on, but look at it do the Bear Claw. Look at him do the Bear Claw. But listen, I'm excited. I want to listen. I saw an interview with DJ Moore saying that how competitive the wide receiver room is going to
Yeah,
be this
race to
year.
1,000
Race
yards.
for 1,000 yards, and so that's a good thing to hear. Friendly competition. They'll be pulling for one another, and now you got a quarterback that they think will be able to get the ball to these guys, the playmakers. All he's got to do is get the ball to the playmakers. Don't turn the ball over. And he could possibly be the Bears' first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards.
Yeah, and Caleb Williams was at Wrigley Field a couple days before that, checking out a Cubs game. So he's seeing what Chicago has to offer, and he's soaking it all up. He's going to get his first chance to work out at Hallis Hall this weekend. Friday and Saturday is going to be the rookie mini camp. So be the first chance for people to see him in action, throwing the ball to Adunze and some of the other young players on the roster.
Yeah, I think there's a buzz about this Bears team. I mean, they won 7 games last year. They probably should have won 10. There were some games out there they left on the board they should have won. This year, minimum 10 games. Minimum 10 games. They've got to win 10 games. They got good defense. They got an offense now that I think is balanced. The offense now has moved up, and it's not just defensive heavy. It's now a balance between the two. They've got a lot of exciting young players, and they're building in the right direction. You got to give Poles credit. A lot of people thought, and I thought, that he should have traded. He should have traded that pick away and
Mhm.
moved down maybe 2 or 3 spots and get Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be that stud that everybody thinks. I think there were some other receivers that you're going to be hearing a lot about. I think Adunze's is one of them. And I think the teammates from LSU, those kids from LSU are going to be good
Brian
players.
Thomas. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. A lot
yes.
of good receivers coming into the league. The Chiefs were able to trade up and get the kid from Texas who ran a 4.2 140. So, just give Pat Mahomes one more weapon. Like he needs another
Yeah,
weapon.
yeah. Well, he lost to was the wide receiver that was racing cars or something. The Rice
Rasheed
kid.
Rice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's being investigated right
stupid,
now.
dumb man. You got your whole career in front of you. Do something like that. I mean, did you not figure out what happened to the Ruggs kid from Alabama? And like, come on, man. These young players have to understand, man, when you're not in the building and you're not being supervised and there's not structure, you have to have the same discipline and structure that you have in the building outside the building. Don't surround yourself with guys who are going to get you in trouble and put you in danger of losing your career. Because when you lose your career, those will be the same people that'll turn on you. They're all there now being supportive and they're hanging honors and they want to ride with you. You're buying them drinks, you're buying them food, you're taking them on flights. But as soon as you get in trouble, none of them gonna take the heat for you. They're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, it was him. He was gonna drive the car." You know what I'm saying? Because if
Yeah.
if that was if your boys are your boys, then and no one knew exactly who drove the car, somebody would have took the hit for you. If that was really your boys, but none of them was really his boys. They say he did it. They all pointed at him. He did it.
Well, we saw the latest news on Shohei Ohtani. His former
Oh,
interpreter pleaded guilty. So if Shohei was involved in any way, the interpreter's taking the rap and he's
listen,
taking it
listen.
hard.
Let me tell you something. He got a whole country you got to deal with. If you get Otani and try to
Yeah.
implicate him and he gets in trouble from that, you got to go back home. And when you go back home, it ain't gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
So I believe Otani had nothing to do with it.
You're right. Yeah.
What does he have to gain from
There's
it?
no evidence to
There's
suggest
yeah,
he wasn't
there's
involved.
nothing. I mean, he's not even from this culture. He's not even into the gambling and betting. He hadn't been here long enough. So what does he have to gain from that when you're making all the money that he's making, almost $1 billion? Like he didn't need to gamble. I got the money. Why am I gambling?
He's got 700 million guaranteed from the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
yeah.
So.
And then his interpreter's the one that's playing the rackets. He's over there. He's like got loan sharks looking after him, waiting for him. He's going around the apartment building, trying to get into his apartment building so they don't see him. Yeah. He got. Hey, listen, you can't do that though. You can't be stealing people's money and then you being trusted. You were trusted as almost like a family member. He gave you the keys to his house, gave you the keys to his banking account, and you robbing him. That's
Yeah.
terrible. Now you almost got him in trouble. You got people like doubting whether he knew anything about this. The guy didn't speak English. How are you gonna bet somebody? How you gonna bet on something you don't speak English? Like,
Well, he's definitely taken the fall. He's pleaded guilty to
he
those
fell on the
federal
sword,
charges.
baby,
Yeah.
like a samurai. He fell on the sword. I'm not gonna have Ohtani take the blame. I'm gonna fall on the sword. Good for him, though. Oh, Indiana's winning. Dun 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 dun. 61-54.
This is definitely a battle of contrasting styles. The Knicks want to walk it up, and Indiana wants to run at every opportunity. And they're
Adobe.
deep.
Look at Adobe.
Stacey's watching basketball. So let's take a break. We'll talk a little bit of boxing, UFC, whatever Stacey wants to talk about. Maybe give you some
Oh, wait a
recommendations.
minute. How about the is it Bush to hit the home run in the
Last
Thunder?
night, yeah.
In the last night?
Yeah,
it
was
was
nice.
like Roy Hobbs. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
The Natural.
The natural. I did that.
No.
Dude, I was like, I saw it. I saw the replay and the lightning
There's some
went.
great angles.
Man,
of it, yeah.
that was an awesome thing.
Michael
They should have
Bush.
that. They should have that in a promo.
Yeah.
That,
they've got
you'll
to,
never
yeah.
see it again. You will. I guarantee you, in this lifetime, that exact sequence,
Right.
walk-off home run, lightning at the same time, raining, people out there, braving the storm, and he hits the home run. You'll never
Yeah.
see that again. That was Roy Hobbs right there, America. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look at The Natural. It's a classic movie with Robert Redford.
That's right. Another recommendation on what to watch. More of that coming up as Gimme the Hot Sauce rolls on. We told you Timmy Whispers is down in Phoenix with doing some high-level business dealings, also selling some of Stacey's signature hot sauce out of his trunk or out of his suitcase. I'm not sure what he's doing down in Phoenix, but if you want to get your bottle of Stacey's sauce, all you have to do is go to gimmethehotsauce.com. You can use various codes. Timmy's made them up, but we know that King 21 works. That gets you 21%
He
off
made 'em up?
your first. Well, he's got all this Christopher Walken stuff.
Oh,
Walking
yeah.
fire, walking this, walking that. But, all the best sauces in the world. You got the St. Pat's Verde. You got Chicago Fire 1871. Anything new on the business front, Stacey?
Oh, we got some stuff in the lab, man. We may be doing some little hot honey.
Oh,
type of
nice.
stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet habanero. Yeah, we got some stuff in we may even throw some ketchup out there. Who knows?
Stacey's wheeling and dealing. So keep an eye on what's going on. Go to gimmethehotsauce.com and place your order. Even though Whispers isn't here, he's got his minions ready to go to pack it up and send it your way. We mentioned baseball briefly as we were ending our last segment. And, remember Fernando Mania?
Yes.
Back in the early 80s when every time he pitched was an event? It's starting to happen that way in the north side of Chicago. When Shota Imanaga pitches, he's now 5-0, 1.08 ERA, and he's got this offbeat, fun personality. Even though has to talk through an interpreter, but all of a sudden it's building that momentum where when he pitches, people stop. Whether they're going to watch it on TV or make sure they got tickets to go out to Wrigley Field.
Well, I tell you what, man. There's something special going on at Wrigley. Listen. I don't think, I think, bringing counsel, I think a lot of people were a little shocked about that. I think baseball people who know baseball know that he's a really good manager. And I think that was a really good hire. And I think the moves that he's made so far has really been really good. And this team is playing with a lot of confidence, man. They're fun to watch. There's an energy over there. They believe they can win. And I'm telling you, it's fun. I mean, that Michael Bush home run, that might catapult them in the rest of the season. That was a special home run.
Yeah, and they got Justin Steele back on Monday. Cody Bellinger's back, and
Bellinger, baby.
Seiya Suzuki's doing a rehab assignment. He should be back this weekend for their series in Pittsburgh. So good things are happening on the north side. We'll leave what's happening on the south side alone, at least for today. You wanted to talk about the Canelo Alvarez fight.
Yes. We listen. I'm a big boxing fan, MMA fan. Combat sports, and Canelo seems like he's going. He's a great fighter. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. But he seems like he's doing his best to avoid the only guy that I think that can possibly beat him, David Benavidez, and it continues to duck him for whatever reason. Now this kid he fought right here is going to be a champion at some point. He reminded me of a young Canelo, and he's fighting like when Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather. He was just outclassed. But you could tell that he had the tools to be a champion. This kid he fought this weekend is that same guy. He's got a chance to be very good. But I want to see now the talks are Bud Crawford, who beat Earl Spence versus Canelo. That's a conversation. And then you have the Benavidez guy. They're talking about him being a possible fight now that they're going to make that happen. But until it happens, it's just talk. And then another piece of news: Ryan Garcia, who got beat by Tank, um, fought Devin Haney a couple of weeks ago, and he flunked the drug test. He outclassed Devin Haney, beat him. I mean, beat him. Should have probably stopped him, but beat him. And all the way led up to the fight mark, there was all this trash talking. Devin Haney talking about he's a C-level fighter. There's just back and forth, no respect. And then, you see this kid, get in the ring and just demoralize this kid, beat him. And then supposedly they take two tests. They take a level and a B level test for steroids or any kind of PEDs. And he came up dirty on the first test, but they really go after the second test, and he tested right afterwards, and then he came out clean. So they were talking about overturning the fight and giving Devin Haney his undefeated record back, which that's stupid because everybody saw him get his butt kicked. But they ended up today saying that he didn't test positive, so they're going to keep the results.
Hey, did you see the Tom Brady roast? I haven't watched it yet.
Oh
3
man,
hours. I mean, people are saying that it's unbelievable. I got to check it out. But
it wasn't just Tom Brady roast. These people were
they
roasting
roasted
everybody.
everybody.
That's the first time I've ever seen a roast where literally they were just roasting everybody. I
Right.
mean, some of them were really good. Tom Brady got mad at my man, the what's his name? Jeff, what's the head guy, the little redhead dude? Jeff Ross.
But it was just interesting that, yeah, like you said, they were just picking at different
Yes,
targets
yes.
that were on the
Kim
dance.
Kardashian, she should have got up and left. Man, it was like a Kim Kardashian roast. Oh my God. But Jeff Ross, it can be really nasty. Okay. He's known as the roaster. Everybody brings him to
That's
these
where
events.
he's made his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he comes to these events and he says something about Robert Kraft about the massage parlor. And Tom Brady got up out of his seat and said, "Don't say that shit again." And you heard him on. It was like Will Smith and it was one of them things, and it wasn't no joke. He got up because he has this affection for Robert Kraft. Okay, and you're not there to roast Robert Kraft. You're there to roast me. So he made that comment about Robert Kraft being in the massage parlor, and Tom Brady literally stood up from his little chair, walked over, and you can hear him too. "Don't say that shit again." And everybody's like, "Ooh, yeah." It was almost like a Chris Rock and Will Smith moment.
It's hard to make something last for 3 hours. Was it good for 3 hours?
It was good for 3 hours, man. It was. I mean, it wasn't just they weren't just riding Brady. They were riding everybody. They were talking about everybody, and I was just sitting there like, "Wow, this is entertaining." Because normally if it was 3 hours, it's one person would be like, "Okay, enough's enough."
Yeah.
But they were picking on people in the crowd. They were picking on everybody. It was. I wouldn't want to sit in the front row.
Yeah.
I would if I was a star person, I was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna sit in the back." Because they had Kevin Hart was the MC. You had Ross. You had yeah. You had I think
Drew Bledsoe?
Julian Edelman. You had Dana White was there. I mean, there's a ton of people. And everybody got a chance to say something about Tom Brady. And they even talked about his wife. Oh man, man, it got personal, bro. I was like, "You got Mark. I'm not gonna tell you anymore. You need to go watch it."
I will.
But he said something about his wife. Oh man, like because there's that rumor about AB. Antonio Brown.
Right.
They brought that up. Ooh, dude. So America, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's on Netflix if you want to check that out. So, you have any other recommendations for the folks, Stacey?
Oh man, my recommendation. I was watching The Gentleman with Andrew. What's his name? McCartney. What's his name?
Matthew
McConaughey. Yeah, Matthew. Okay, The Gentleman. You got Hugh Grant. You got my man. Matthew McConaughey, and then you got Colin. What's his name? Furlan. God, I forgot his name. But he's a good actor though. He was in Alexander. And then you got my man from Sons of Anarchy, Charlie Hunnam in there. He was good. And so it's about a guy who starts a marijuana ring. and which is Matthew McConaughey, and he got it, and he's got like top grade marijuana, like pharmaceutical grade marijuana. He sells it for a lot of money, and he comes up through the ranks, and people are trying to buy it from him. He's trying to get out of the business and go legit. He's friends with all the aristocrats in England, the dukes and the duchesses and stuff. He's really big with them, so he makes all his money from them, and he does a lot of stuff to help them. Like if they get in trouble or something, he gets clears their name and stuff. It's a really really good movie. Hugh Grant is I mean he's like a reporter. He sneaks around and he's trying to get stories and he tries to blackmail them. They get him at the end. It's a really good movie.
So is this basically the same story as the series on Netflix that's also called The Gentleman?
No, no, this is totally different.
Okay.
Totally.
'Cause
Well, you know what?
that's a
No,
fun- that's
no,
a
you know
fun
what? You know
series.
what? It's kind of like that because they were dealing with marijuana too.
Right.
Yeah. Now that I think it is like that. No.
The Gentleman.
The Gentleman. It's on Netflix. It's like a
That's
three.
really well
yeah.
done.
This is it's this. I think it is that. Now because they were dealing with marijuana, pharmaceutical grade drugs, and so
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's kind of like that. It might be an adaptation of that.
Because in the Netflix series, the brother Freddie just kills me.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, in this show, Matthew McConaughey he's actually an American.
mhm.
So he comes up from the bottom selling little bags of weed here and there, and then he masters it, and he's super smart. He got a scholarship to Oxford. He's like super smart. So he created this particular brand, a strain of marijuana that everybody in the world wants, and he's making buku bank off of it. And all his clientele are like high end aristocrat type of people. So that's where he makes his money. And so you got these certain groups are trying to get it from him, buy it from him. You got the the Asian group, that gang that wants to buy it from him, and they end up kind of that guy in the corner right there is the nephew of one of the Asian gang leaders, and he's trying to go behind his uncle's back because his uncle sells heroin.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. If your little kids don't watch it because you stay off drugs, say no to drugs. But it's a great movie though. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, I was looking for a movie to watch on Sunday. There were no NBA games, and the baseball was kind of dull. So I checked out The
Oh,
Equalizer that came out a few months back. And when Stacey gave his review on it, I got the impression you didn't love it. You thought it was okay, but you didn't.
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I mean, the way it starts with him and Sicily,
yeah.
trying to get revenge on this group of gangsters was good. And then you got the kind of the romance angle in there. I thought they really wrapped it up. But that was a nice story all the way around.
The first two are hard to beat, though.
That's true.
The first two. The first
And
one.
when you
was
get
like-
older,
the
it's
first
harder
one,
to
yeah.
accept that he's killing all these
and
people.
he's killing all these people.
Yeah.
Exactly, because he looks older as the film
Yeah,
goes along.
yeah.
So the first one was the best one. Second one was very good, and then the third one was good. It's hard to believe, just like with John Wick. It's hard to believe that these guys can't be killed.
Right.
There's bullets flying around and they never get hit.
Never get hit.
But everybody else in the room gets hit. A ricochet bullet hits off somebody's kneecap into somebody's earlobe, and it's just constantly moving around.
Well, there was that one scene in the village square where he basically says, I killed your brother."
Yes.
He comes out and drops his guns.
Yes.
They just shot him right in the spot.
They just shot him
I
right on
mean,
the spot.
He's not walking
Yeah,
out.
no. As soon as he took one step, they just shot him. Because they were like, okay, I shot your brother, they just shot him right then and there.
Right. That's where the believability thing
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
strains you a little bit.
But Denzel's such a good
Yeah.
actor. You're watching the movie because he's in it.
Right.
Anytime you got good actors or actresses, you find yourself, regardless of how the movie ends up, that he's always going to have a good product. You always know he's going to be good in whatever he does. So, and every movie he's in is pretty like a home run every time.
Yeah.
So you can
Guaranteed
never go wrong.
box office, no question about it. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up,
Yep.
except for our Windy City.
Oh,
friends. Yeah,
Windy
wanna
City.
make sure to take
Windy
care of
City.
business here.
Let me find my read, baby.
There you go.
Let's see. Thank you. Oh, Mark, you old dog, you. America. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact them at 847-916-9300. That's 847-916-9300. Or go to WindyCityLimos.com. And you missed my boy Mike. Mike came in here again this week. He came in today.
Oh, he was here last week.
Yeah, he came in again
yeah.
as he came in today. We've been trying to get Mike in the studio for 3 years, and then finally he's coming in now. The weather's nice. He wants to get those walks in because
That's right.
he's got those.
Get those steps.
He's getting those steps in. He takes like 30,000 steps a day. And that means he's walking to Maryville, Indiana, Sherrville, Indiana, comes back, or Valparaiso. He comes back, but he's healthy, looks good, and he's back.
Yeah, it was great to see Mike. So for all your needs coming up this summer, people going to concerts, going to ball games. You
Which
don't
I
want to
will.
drink and drive.
I
Call
will.
Windy City Limo.
I'm
We'll
going to a
take
lot
good
of
care
games this summer, and I'm going to a lot of concerts this summer. So
There you go.
I'll
Stacey
be
King, a
taking
man of the
Windy
people.
City. We got food? We got
Cisco's
food
got
coming?
food. I think it's time
It's
to wrap
time to
things
eat,
up.
baby. It's time to eat.
So I'm sure everybody missed Whispers. I think he's going to be here for next week's show as he returns.
Yeah,
from
he'll be back
Phoenix.
next week.
But in spirit, we talked about the Tom Brady roast. That's something I know Whispers would love.
Yeah.
He's probably watched it already on the road. So anyway, for our great crew, for D and Cisco, I want to thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. And we got a new show coming up next week. Until then.
Drive home safe in Chicago. Beep, beep.